Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your travel rock star, and I'm here to do a public service announcement of the Mr. Heater. Now, I've had this now for almost a year, and I figured I'd do a quick review because I haven't seen anything on the internet right now that goes into detail from A to Z on how to get this thing to work, all the buttons and whistles, how it works, and everything. And at the very end, it's going to be a great little hack for you. Now, I'm inside a small 12 by 12 container, and as you can see, I'm making this video and it is cold. So basically, before I light this, I'm going to take it apart, and then I'm going to show you how to put it together, and then we're going to start it together. Again, I've only seen one other video out there that kind of goes into detail from A to Z. Nobody does one. So this is why I look for videos that kind of incomplete, don't give you the information you need. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to then put it back together. I'm going to show you all the buttons and whistles. And again, here is the Mr. Heater. And for everybody that doesn't have their box anymore, I'm going to go ahead and just spin this around so you can take some screenshots of everything that this box says. You know, sometimes it pays off to keep these boxes. And again, this is a free review. I'm not getting paid for this. Again, I just think it's a great heater, and it's one of their many series. This one is the 10,000/12,000 15,000 BTU. So that's obviously low, medium, high. And again, we're going to get into it. First, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this thing apart, just as if now it's out of gas. I'd make sure this valve back here is completely off, and we're going to go ahead and take it apart. Now, there was another video out there that said you needed a pair of pliers. You don't. Plastic piece on over the sleeve that you use just with your fingers. Now, it's counterclockwise, so you don't want to tighten it. Tighten it is loosen it in this end. So what we're going to do is going to go behind it and just start going clockwise. Okay, and then soon you're going to feel it slowly like want to release, and these are going to pop off. Now, that's why I'm going to show you everything really quickly. This is a brand new filled propane tank, and as you can see, this is a unit apart, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put it back together. And this part here is why you do not need any tools. This is the tool that you use to tighten it by hand and untighten it by hand. So you do not need any tools for this to put it together. So basically, these clips here, okay, they're going to go on to the side of these as you put it together. That's going to keep it sturdy. Now, I've seen a lot of guys that don't use these, and because they probably don't know what they are, but you do need them, just because if it gets bumped or hit, you're going to need it. So again, let me go ahead and explain how this works. Basically, this are two anchor points that basically you can get it to come off, but I'm not going to take it off. But you need to put that on your unit. If you don't have it, make sure it's on it. These two clip to the outer rings of the handle area. Okay, so you're going to kind of leave these on the back open as you put this on. Now, this has a little rubber O-ring, and again, this, you just tighten it hand tight. So we're just going to go ahead, and remember, as long as it's not hot, you can grab it. Just don't touch the filament inside. You can, pretty sturdy. You can just go ahead and grab it like this for this purposes, because this is the way I put it on with two hands. I grab it firmly here. I could grab it firmly here. I could grab it firmly here. For whatever reason, I've just been used to grabbing it somewhere here. And then we're going to just go ahead and guide this into place and hold it with your other hand, and then start turning with your fingers. Now, as you can see, this little piece fell down, so I'm going to come back up. I'm going to put it behind. I'm going to rest that right there as I get this turned in. So you're just going to basically screw it in. Once the thread's grabbed, you'll feel it. It'll start getting a little tighter and tighter, which is doing now. So now mine is getting tighter and tighter. So before it gets too tight, what I do is I'll take my little extra bracket and raise it up, get it into place, and then basically put these in. So now it's nice and snug. And then I'm going to finish, because see, right now it still has a little play in it. So now I'm going to do, by tightening a little further, is locking it right into place. Now it's going to be very, very sturdy. I haven't seen any of these videos out that teach this. And again, all you need is your fingers. You can be campsite, be in your garage, wherever. And I just do it to where, just as you would tighten a jar of peanut butter, where you just know, you can feel it's pretty tight, and you know, you don't need to over tighten it. So now it's pretty solid. We were talking Mr. Heater, had it over a year. It's worked great for me. Now it's assembled. I'm going to explain to you how it works. We have the valve off. We have 3 settings. We have actually 4: off, low, medium, and high. I have mine set to low because most of you are going to have it set on low too, and it's going to burn the most efficient. The higher levels put out so much of the propane, you're going to smell it more. So if you want to, if you're willing to wait a few extra minutes, put it on low, let it heat up slowly so you get that less propane smell. It burns more efficiently. All right. And at the end of this video, I'm going to teach you how to even make that more efficient. But hang on. So now we have it all back together, ready to go. And I'm going to tell you a few things about how it works. So once you turn on the valve, you're now ready to go. There is what they call a spring sponge knob that you're going to push and depress. That's basically wired in to this sensor right here, and it's called a heat sensor. So when you ignite it, it's going to take from 5 to 15 seconds for this to start to glow. And once that little filament becomes hot, it's going to send a little signal, let it know that once you let off the button, that it can continue flowing the gas. Now, the feature in this, why it has these wires, which you make sure you never want to remove them. That's why everyone just leaves a little Mr. Heater sign hanging there, which you can very safely. Again, I'll teach you, behind here is not a lot of radiant heat. It's all from here and everything in front. Behind here, this is all safe. All this area is very safe. It doesn't get very hot at all. All the radiant heat goes forward. So you just want to make sure that you have an area clear that doesn't have anything that's easily ignitable. That will be something obvious. But anyway, so now you know that it's together. We're going to turn the valve on, get the propane flowing. I'm going to depress the button. I'm going to then light it with my lighter. And then once I light it, we're going to hold the button in for 5 to 10 seconds. We're going to wait for that to turn red. And then we'll let it slowly go. And then we're on, and I'll go on to the hack. So here we go. Here's my lighter. Now I recommend getting the one that has a little light, little extender on it. You can use a normal, but it recommends you light your lighter on this side, because remember, the filament's on here. So you're going to have a little thing that says light here. So what we do is we just want to have the lighter ready. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. Now remember, with this on, the valve released, it's not going to leak, but I do recommend, if you're not using it, that you always make sure that when you're finished, you make sure it's completely off and nice and tight. That way you'll keep your propane, it won't leak, and you'll be good to go. So now we've turned it on just a couple turns. Now we're going to have our lighter ready, and I'm going to turn behind, and you're going to hear the propane little hiss going. That will indicate that the gas is flowing. If you don't hear that hiss, the good odds you're not going to light it. So what you want to do is make sure that you're lit before you depress the button. So here we are. We're going to put it in here, and we are going to light it. And now we're going to depress. Listen. Okay, that's all you need. Now I'm holding in the button. It's still blue, slowly turning red. That filament is heating up, sending the signal back to the unit to let it know it's safe, because as long as there's heat, it knows to allow the fuel to go through. So I'm now going to release it slowly, and voila, lighter going, and then there you go. Now I'm holding it 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Now it's pretty safe. You can start to see it now red. Now I slowly just release this button, and we're good. You now have the Mr. Heater running safely. Now I do recommend, these are a few tips, that if you're using it in an enclosed area, that you make sure that you have adequate ventilation, because these units deplete the oxygen out of the room over an extended period of time. That's called like carbon monoxide poisoning. So you're replacing the oxygen with carbon monoxide. So I highly recommend that you use this heater to warm up your environment. Once it's nice and toasty, you're going to turn this off. You're going to open up your door. You're going to allow a bunch of new air to flow in, which is going to have brand new oxygen in it, and all the air that was in it is going to exit. What happens is then you close the door, your radiant heat from everything in your room that's been heated will then reheat that new air, which to me, that's the safest way to use any type of gas or propane heater, even natural gas. That's the way I work it. I don't like breathing in natural gas because these are about 99% efficient. And because they're only 99% efficient, there's that 1% of unburnt fuel that just doesn't get burnt. It doesn't have its own catalytic converter built in it. So you're going to always smell a little bit of that propane with these units. But this is, if you watch this far, you now understand how to properly use it. If I wanted to turn this off, I would just tightly turn that knob nice and tight, and within about 5 seconds it's going to turn off. But I like to have a hack, because even the low on this is even too strong for a lot of places. And if you're looking for a way to heat your room without the smell of propane, this is my hack, and this is what you get for watching the end of this video. Now, on most of these propane tanks, you can slowly crank down the valve and it will start making another air sound, which basically means there's going to be a lot more air coming in than the fuel being released. It's going to make a hissing sound. It's the same sound you get when you've depleted this tank for about 15 to 20 minutes. The last 15 to 20 minutes before this goes out, it's going to start going lower and lower. My leg is getting warm, so I'm going to have to change here. Lower and lower until finally it and then pops out. You can simulate that same condition by slowly turning it off. Now, there's a little happy medium. You go a little bit too far, it will turn off. So what I recommend is just sitting behind it like I am now and just slowly starting to turn it off. And you're going to listen to the sound, because it's the sound that you're listening for, because that tells you that the airflow combination, just like in a carburetor, it's changing. So we're just going to slowly turn it down. And then you just turn it just back on a little bit. Okay? And what you're doing, about right there. You can see even the filament is getting a little bit less red in the bottom. Now this is about as low as you can safely run it, and you can run this for an extended period of time. You will not smell any propane, because right now you're having, it's burning purely, meaning that there's actually way more air, and the oxygen is making sure that the propane that's coming out is being burnt 100%. So now you can run this for more of an extended period of time, and as long as you have some constant ventilation, which could be some cracks or a little crack in a door somewhere or a window, and an exit. So as long as you have constant new air and oxygen, you can keep this on to keep radiant. Remember, the only thing you don't want to do, and the reason why I'm making this video is because it's really cold this winter. People are going to be using this inside. And I'm making this video because I'm trying to save a few lives, because trust me, the only thing you do not want to do is you do not want to leave this on and go to sleep, especially unless you have a window wide open. And even then, I don't recommend leaving anything like this on while you're asleep. You want to get your room nice and toasty, get it up to 90 degrees. Turn it off, open your door, wait about 5 to 10 seconds, then shut it again, or your window. Then you're going to be about 85 degrees. You're going to be nice and toasty for 2 to 3, 4 hours. You might have to get up at 3 in the morning, turn this back on, pump it back up again, do that same process. And that's the proper way you want to use any type of gas or propane or any type of butane I think this is a nice quality video to let everybody know how they can use their Mr. Heater properly, and you minimize your risk of having anything go wrong with you or your loved one. So now you know how to properly use this. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to turn it back on, get it back to full blast, and then turn it off, and that's going to be the end of the video, so you'll know. So all you have to do now, I'm turning it back just about a half a turn, and it's now going to go back up to low, full strength low. And this is, you're going to see how long it will approximately take to turn off. So basically I'm just now turning it tight, and it's now off. There's no more gas, nice and quiet. Recommend keeping this away from anybody or touching it for at least 10 minutes. It's going to take at least 10 minutes for this to be safely handled. But again, thank you for watching the video. Now you know how to use the Mr. Heater